Hello, my name is Preetam. I, I have 3 years of industry experience. I've worked for Barracuda Networks in web application security domain. I've worked for Barracuda's web application firewall. I also worked in the automation project there. I've used Python. Then my second organization was Health and Care Soft Labs. So my parent organization was Health and Care Soft Labs, but my client organization was Radware, an Israeli product-based organization. There also I worked for in the web application security domain. I have worked for Radware's web application firewall called AppWall. I was part of R&D team. Uh, I have worked in the web application security domain in the automation project using robot framework. I built two POCs to bring the automation project to India. I have also uh, worked a little bit in Django, uh, the full stack web application framework using Python. So I have used Python significantly in both Barracuda networks as well as Radware. Uh, Here I want to demonstrate on one of the assignments that I have recently got from one of the organizations during a job interview. Uh, the assignment was to create a time entry application in Django. It took me around 1 week to complete. And database of your choice. I have used SQLite tree. One can use Postgres as well or any database of their choice. Uh, these are the requirements and these are the points of evaluation. So the usual registration uh, as a user, and then this was the requirement. As a user, I should be able to log my time entries for a task, and these are the fields. And this was the requirement: time entries should be saved in the database. So let's have a look at what I have completed within 1 week. There was no time constraint. They gave me the liberty to let, let them know once I'm done with the project. So let's have a look. So let me start the server first. So you can see that the server started without any errors. Let's have a look. Refresh the page. So this is the home page, the general home page, and we have a sign up page for user registration, and all the links are working here. So you can go to the login page if you're already registered. From the login page, if you're not registered, you can go to the sign up page, and as you can see, there is a login page as well. So this link is working as login page. Now without logging in, if you try now let's check with registration page first. So here I have done some validation checks over here. So one cannot register without passing the validation checks that I have put in this form. I've used Django model forms for this purpose, and I've used the inbuilt or the default user registration table, auth underscore user, that comes with Django itself. If you can see at the database, so this is the table I'm talking about. You can see there are some users registered over here. So let's register a user first. Let me see if the validation. So you can see there are validation checks over here. All the fields are mandatory, so this is mandatory validation check, and I have also used a unique validation check. That means that I will show you just a little bit. So so for the first name and the last name, it does not go for the unique validation check. That means it's not mandatory for the first name and the last name to be present in the database or not. It does not matter whether the first name and last name is registered in the database, because logically speaking, first name and last name can be common for users. So let's give like Tony Stark. So you can see these two fields are getting accepted, and Tony Stark is already present in the database. This first name and last name, as you can see. So here, so let's try to give a username that already uh, exists in the database. Let's give Denzel. So Denzel is already present in the database, and if I try to submit, it throws me an error saying the username with that username already exists. So this is the unique validation check I was talking about. If you check the database, you can see that the username Tony is already present. So let me try to give a unique username Tony4. So if I give Tony4, which is not present in the database, as you can see, it should get accepted. So all the fields that gets accepted turns green, and all the fields that are throwing some errors are showing in red. So Tony4 is getting accepted. For the email, let's say I try to give a common email, or the email that is already there with the database. Let's say this one. So it throws an error saying, again, the unique validation check comes into the picture saying this email address is already registered. So let me give a unique email address. Start 4. If I give a unique email address, now it starts accepting. See, this field has turned green. And let's give a password. For password also, there's strict validation check that is in place. So these criteria has to be fulfilled for the form to get successfully submitted and the user getting successfully created. So let's give a common, so let's give a random password, let's say 123, and if I give 123 over here as well, and if I try to submit, then you can see that the password is too short. It must contain at least 8 characters as per the condition criteria over here. The password is too common, so this fails, and the password is entirely numeric, so this fails too. Let me try to give a valid password now. Let's say 24. Now another validation check that I want to do is the unique validation. Another validation check that I want to show is to see or to check whether the password that has been entered over here, that should match with the password. Password confirmation field should match with the password field. So now I have removed one character over here, and if I submit, then it throws another error saying that the 2 password fields didn't match. That means this field has to match with this field. So if I do the same field, now I should be able to create a user successfully, since yes, now you can see that the account has been successfully created for Tony4, that is the username. Now let's say that there is validation check over here as well in the login page. Now if I give invalid credentials over here and try to log in, it throws me an error saying username or password is incorrect. So it checks with the database and see if the username and password matches. If it does not match, it throws an error, and we can see that if I refresh the auth_user table, this entry has been created. So you can see 24. So this entry has been created recently, and now if I give the correct credentials, it should allow me to log in. As you can see, it has logged in successfully, and it is showing the full name in the message. And here you can check the time entries over here. So these are the time entries that are already there for different users. So any user can check these this table who logs in after logging in. Otherwise, without logging in, this table is not visible. And let's say I try to create a new time entry as per the requirement that has been given in the assignment. So here also I have done validation checks. So if the fields are empty, so these are mandatory field validation check. And let's say if I give 24, let me give some random values over here. Let's say test Tony, uh, Iron Man, Mark 4, Smart task, and the project name. And for date time, so this is the start date time and the end date time for the project entry or the uh, new entry that the user can create. So this is a very user friendly widget that I have used for date time entry field for both the date time entry fields. So if you go over here, you can select the year, the month, the date, and the time as well. Let me go over here, make it 2017, September 11. Let's make it as 2 p.m. So my start date is 11 September 2017, and let's say my end date is July 2nd for 30, let's say AM. Let's make it like 10:30 AM. So this is my start time, this is my end time and date, and these fields I have now. So these fields are valid fields. Now if I try to submit, it creates an entry, and this message gets thrown saying time entry created successfully. And you can see over here this entry has been created, and it shows you the duration as well, how much time it took for the project to get completed, 2 years 9 months. So this I have using time since, so it finds out the difference between the end time and the start time date. Gives you a human readable duration over here, 2 years 9 months, you can see, and all the fields are present over here. And if you check the database, there is a table over here, app underscore time entry model. Here if I go check, you can see this has been created now, project 4 unique field. So you can see the day by day is different. This got created recently, so it got stored in the database as per requirement over here. Time entries should be saved in the database, and you can so that's all for here. Now you can log out. Even if you log out, it throws another message saying logged out successfully, that's Vadania. And another thing that I want to show you is since we are logged out now, no user has been logged in. If I try to check these specific pages over here, there's home page. So these are user specific pages, as you can see. Now since I'm logged out, let me refresh once, and if I try to view the user specific pages without logging in, it automatically redirects me to the login page, compelling the user to log in before viewing the user specific pages. That goes for time entry page as well. And another page that I want to show is the time entry create. So these three are user specific pages that can only be viewed if you're logged in, so which compels the user to log in, so it automatically redirects to the login page. So that's all I want to show. And the my career objective is to get into a code development role in Python as a Python developer, uh, using Django preferably. Um, Looking forward to it. Um, Thank you for your time. We can do a code review if I get shortlisted. Thank you very much.